Hello and welcome to this special program today, Why FGM in the 21st Century, in behalf of Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM. Today we'll be talking about the 29 countries throughout Africa that still practice FGM. We'll be joined by experts and survivors who will give us an insight into their experiences and their stories. Powerful intro there. We now go to our survivor, who is an author of Parce que je suis une fille, Asita Kanko. But I'm getting a message from the studio. Okay, we're going to facts. Let's take a look at some key facts first about FGM. Over 140 million girls and women alive today have undergone some form of FGM. If current trends continue, about 86 million additional girls worldwide will be subjected to the practice by 2030. FGM is mostly carried out on young girls, sometimes between infancy and age 15. FGM causes severe bleeding and health issues, including cysts, infections, infertility, as well as complications in childbirth, increasing risk of newborn deaths. FGM is a violation of the human rights of girls and women. We now go to an interview with Asita Kanko, our survivor and the author of Parce que je suis une fille, which translates from French as Because I Am a Girl. Hello, Asita.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, nice to finally have you on board. We welcome you on this Day of Zero Tolerance to celebrate ending the activism and raising awareness of FGM, so welcome. We want to know what has been your experience of FGM and what were the problems you faced along your journey?
Actually, the title of the book is Parce que tu es une fille. This means because you are a girl, and it's the story of a circumcised life. At the end of the day, I think that in my own experience, in fact, they cut off more than a piece of your body. They take away a part of your life, and as you grow up, you forget the physical pain. But at some points of your life, you can still be confronted with the experience and the impact that it can have in your relationships with other people, with men, for example, or with your family, because FGM is practiced by people who get in touch with you because your family bring you to them to be cut. So there is that raises a question of trust. How can you trust people you love who bring you somewhere to have you cut by someone you don't know? And when you are a child, it can break your heart. That's what happened with me, and I think that's what happened with millions of women around the world today. It triggered a journey to freedom somehow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Asita, for that insight. It must be a very difficult. What we wanted to know is, what was your relationship with men like in your life because of this FGM? And what do you think their role stands in FGM, raising awareness and the future of it?
My relation with I think I've been lucky. I could find ways to have like rediscover who I am and to define myself as someone who is not to be assimilated with what happened with me when I was a child. That you could grow out of it and have find back your personality. And I didn't do it alone. I was lucky enough to be reading books of women like Waris Diria and other people who underwent FGM as well, and how they struggled to find their ways. And actually, all the women, each woman is confronted somehow with some things that are not always FGM. It can be something else, but FGM is just one of the things that happen to people because they are women. So as a woman, I've been confronted with FGM, but also with other stuff, simply because I'm a woman and I've been learning to go on with, to get along with it. I have learned how to build a new relationship with my mom and with people surrounding me. And with men, it has been difficult at the beginning when I first fell in love because I was actually not feeling as if I was a real woman. I thought I was a woman, just part of me was a woman and the other part was gone and I could not get it back. So I've been feeling less than than other women. And I was sitting in front, you can read it in my book. I was sitting in front of my boyfriend and I was wondering, what am I doing here? I'm just lying to him, pretending I'm a real woman, and what is he going to find out? And you feel like you have a secret, and actually it's even not your fault. And the first thing to learn is to get rid of the guilt and just feel normal.
Asita, wow, I can't imagine going through that. One last question. Your book, Parce que je suis une fille, what motivated you to write it, and what do you hope it achieves for readers worldwide?
In fact, the reason why I wrote this book is because I strongly believe in the power of words and how you can share experience. Today, I have a good life, I have a job, I have a career, and I'm a happy mother and wife. But so many women are still struggling with their experiences that have been reducing their self-perception and self-esteem. And what I wanted to do is to give back what I've received by learning from other people's experience and show that everyone who has succeeded with something today somehow has also been struggling someday before being here. We're just not here from the beginning, and it's normal to be struggling. It doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you are, following a path to your goals in life. And I wanted to share that experience. I wanted also to draw attention on the subject as a politician in Belgium to make people remember women's suffering and to make people give more attention to the problem, to the phenomenon of FGM. That it's not just something happening in Africa somewhere; it's something worldwide, and we have to work hard to help women to empower women so that they can have the power to save their little girls and to also bring the attention of women of men on the issue. And one last thing was to show people who happen to let their girls undergo FGM or who are intending to know what FGM does with the child you love. It's not that the piece cut off, but something bigger and that they will carry all along their lives. And that is what I wanted to show. And when I wrote that, I had a talk with my mom. And for the first time, she could also understand what I've been going through. And I met people who have been reading my book, and they tell me they had the same conversation with their parents. So that was the aim of sharing that experience.
Thank you so much, Asita. That's incredible. You're a very, very strong woman. And your book will, I'm sure, touch many people's lives and transform it for the better, especially the FGM survivors. We now go to an interview with Hanna Sigurd-Johnson from Sweden. He's a plastic surgeon at the Karolinska University and a pioneer. So you became a pioneer after your first reconstructive surgery of a clitoris in Sweden. What inspired you to do this, Hanna?
We can start with the real pioneer in this field is my colleague, Dr. Pierre Foldes in Paris. He evolved this surgical procedure some years ago, working in Burkina Faso and in Africa and in Paris, and has been reconstructing women for over a decade. But as often is the case, it was the patients who inspired me to learn the technique and to research further in this field. So it was last year that I got a young woman from Somalia who had suffered from FGM type 3. And she had read about this clitoral reconstruction. And she was actually as well half infibulated still. So she had a lot of problems and came to me, got a referral from the gynecology, and we came into contact with the Desert Flower Foundation. And they invited us to come to Amsterdam, where they have a training center for clitoral reconstruction and surgery to treat the complications of FGM. And I trained there and then did the first case in Sweden last fall.
Thank you very much for that. What physical and emotional process does a patient go through during the reconstructive surgery? That's something many people want to know.
It's a delicate situation, and the surgeon and the professional staff taking care of the patient have to be hold their professionalism high, because all surgery in the genital area can take back memories from the initial trauma of FGM. And many of these women, not all, but many of these women suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. So they can relive their trauma from childhood when this was done to them. But on the positive side, the psychological benefits are many. When they are defibrillated and reconstructed, if you reconstruct the clitoris and the labia, the psychological effect of this reconstruction can have very good and positive effects. They have, after the surgery, gotten their identity back. They've gotten an organ back that was taken from them with violence in childhood, and it can have a very dramatic positive effect on their psychological well-being.
Hannah, FGM leaves both physical and psychological scars on the survivors. I mean, do you offer any psychological help to your patients? And if so, how does this help with their healing process?
Yeah, that's probably the most emphasis we put on in our team effort at Karolinska University Hospital in Stockholm. We have a team of professionals providing care for these women, and from gynecology, urology, midwives, specially trained for treating FGM suffer women who are pregnant, psychologists, psychotherapists, a sexologist we have on our team as well, and then a reconstructive plastic surgery. So it's a multidisciplinary approach that we use, and we always send these women to a sexologist and a psychotherapist before we do any surgery on them.
Thank you for that insight, Hannah. That was very interesting, and I think a progressive way forward for those who want reconstructive surgery, the survivors, that is. So now we go to an interview with Hoda Ali, who has just come back from a conference on Day of Zero Tolerance. Hello, Hoda, welcome to the show. Where have you just been? Please tell us about this conference.
Wow, I just came from the government organized the FGM Summit today, and it was a new legislation coming out for all health professionals to train, mandatory training at work. So everybody have to know about FGM now.
Yes, they do. And how has FGM affected your life in particular?
Oh, wow. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I was cut when I was 7. But when I turned 11, I couldn't get my period. So my period was accumulating inside. So from the age of 11 to I was 17, I was in hospital. And basically doctors were trying to correct so I can get a period. At the age of 17, I got my first period. But then when I was 26, I got married. And at the age of 31, I was told I can't have a child because of FGM.
It must be very difficult for you not being able to have a child because of FGM. Okay, so we understand that you're a sexual health nurse, which is very interesting. We want to know, how does FGM affect a woman during periods, sexual intercourse, pregnancy, and even giving birth?
Wow. Well, it affects them in every way because FGM comes different forms of feelings and psychological problems with patients. But with our patients, the problem is they complain about pelvic infection and urine infection. So they will go to the general practice and they will send them to sexual health clinic. And then that's where I will see them, where we'll make sure that they don't have any infectious diseases. And then we will refer them to FGM clinic so they can get the psychological help and they can get an operation if they need to.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that, Huda Ali. Now we're going to take a quick look at a clip from a video courtesy of FGM Stop the Silent Torture, another organisation.
Do you know what female genital mutilation is?
Yes, I do, yeah. It's cutting off the clitoris and maybe other parts of the woman's vagina.
Try and do circumcision on the female parts? Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've read a little in the newspapers, but I've never actually studied the matter.
I don't have any clue on what that is.
You don't have a clue?
No.
It's the cutting of the females, like genitals.
Not exactly, not accurately.
Basically, the clitoris is cut, and this prevents women from achieving orgasm when they have sexual experiences.
In what part of the world would you say it is practiced?
Well, I know it's practiced in parts of Africa. I didn't think it was in sub-Saharan Africa.
Sub-Saharan Africa.
Islamic countries and most likely African countries.
I don't know.
I think it's the Middle East. That's to the best of my knowledge.
Mostly Islamic countries.
Maybe in the sub-Saharan African region here.
And do you think FGM...
Okay, now it's time to say goodbye. We've run out of time. You can buy Asita's book, Parce que je suis en fille, on her website. For more information on how to help with FGM, you can get in touch with organisations such as 28 Too Many, who operate in Africa, and many others. There are so many out there, so many things you could do. You could tweet, you could join campaigns and other activists, you could promote the message, you could watch this show and share it with others. So thank you very much to our guests and everyone who came on board today to raise awareness of Day of Zero Tolerance of FGM. Goodbye.